gonna redo the house that's right there next to it and all that kind of stuff, so.
And the planning commission's chickening out because of that one subdivision that keeps matching.
I don't know if it's
No,
that.
actually, it's on the south side of that, the south. It's next to the school, is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and they're not, at least they're not killing anything with, this, we're gonna make noise or do whatever, it's that, but I tried to remember, did we shove those things back to the planning commission for them to make a yes or no type recommendation? Most of the time.
Someone will just go straight through and they'll be like,
I don't recall because it's not been very many times that they sent it to us.
No recommendation.
that one there, Mackenzie and Bernie.
I've got Kayla coming over to kind of explain a little bit more. Hopefully she'll get here fairly soon.
Okay. And I asked her about her budget, I'm gonna see her Friday, and Morgan Friday.
Okay.
And then budget-wise, if there's, I think we're just gonna continue to do what the tradition that you had started was that if they really needed to be here, they could come here. So we'll ask them at our next meeting if there's anything outstanding they think they need to come before the commissioners to get like a favorable recommendation. They need to come other than
Saves a lot of time because it says that we shall review their budgets and then we can just go. Yeah, that's good.
And then there's this redevelopment authority appointment down on the action item for us today. We're going to appoint ourselves to a redevelopment authority, and it's part of the Amplify project. That's what Lisa Lee needs to do her creative financing for the Amplify project.
Okay.
It's not any.
So it'd be the three of us.
I said, can we just appoint the three of us? And she said, yes, there's no conflict in us doing that. It's for the financing on that. Good morning.
It was the second one, like right after the budget one.
Liability.
Brian promised he would be short.
He sent an email last night I didn't get to read.
What do you think?
I think we'll have to tell him it's your 15 minutes is up and wrap it up.
I'm just making sure you're.
Although I will say, I mean, he might have right to be nervous on some things too. I think Henry County didn't get their liability insurance renewed because the sheriff over there has several outstanding claims against them. Some are probably his fault. I think one of them involves a Shirley police officer. He might have been working over there for him. It's like I can't remember what the claim was, but I didn't know this guy wasn't really a deputy at first. He was a reserve, and he's the sheriff now. So I don't think the people over there support him as much. But Brian's ever nervous that we're gonna have our insurance either go up or be canceled. And some of the stuff out of the sheriff's department, you just can't control because that's what those guys do in their spare time when they're in jail. File court claims.
We've been all over the place. We started with roundabouts, so we kind of went from there.
You guys ready to go? Scott,
Yep.
ready? So we'll call our May 21st County Commissioners meeting to order. First item on our agenda is highway update with Gary Poole.
I'm going to move one of my items up in the agenda just so we can get the gentleman out of here. Schildemeyer typically has a party every year. They have a great time. They do close one of the roadways. If you come forward and briefly describe your name, everything for the record, and your phone number so they can have it in the thing so they can call you in case of the problem. And I believe everything will be the same as last year's maintenance before.
Morning, gentlemen. My name is Adam O'Connor. I'm a resident of New Palestine in Schildemeyer Woods, and every year Memorial Day weekend and kick off the summer. We have a little block party. We close off a small section in the neighborhood it's on Cary Drive between Amelia and Christian. And the timing is approximately between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. We usually end much earlier than 10 p.m. Yeah, just for food, music, and some socialization. And this will be the 4th year, I believe, we've done this party. And just requesting the authorization to block off the road.
You can sign 2 of these. You can have one for himself, so if the police stop by, they know he's authorized, and the other one just be for my records.
Sure, can we just get a quick motion to approve that?
Make a motion that we approve the road closure for the block party on 5/24 for Schildmeyer Woods.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the road closure of Cary Drive on 5/24 of 2024 for the block party as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes. Sure you're good to go?
Thank you.
What kind of food do you serve?
It's been a pitch in really this year that they're gonna do just hot dogs and hamburgers. We keep trying for the food truck, but
Richmond Flats gets the food truck.
I think so, yeah. We're used to it. Guys do more party over there.
We'll
Bye.
Just rub it in a little bit, Gary.
Right.
Next item I have is the acceptance of 3 different roadways throughout the county, so we can get these added to our tax rolls. We have a section of West Havens Drive in section 5. We have a section 4 in Meadow Lake Drive, and we have Summer Haven section 3. So you've already accepted these roadways. We just need to get them added to our tax rolls with NDOT. So these would be right here, there.
Make a motion that we approve the dedication of West Havens Drive, Section 5 as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the dedication of West Haven Drive, Section 5 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Make a motion that we approve the acceptance of West Meadow Lake Drive, Section 4 as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We accept West Meadow Lake Drive, Section 4, the dedication as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Make a motion that we approve the acceptance of South Summer Haven Court, Section 3 as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the acceptance of South Summer Haven Court, Section 3 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes.
You by yourself and have a mic right next door, make copies, because that thing's loud.
I know. I was like, it's either a kid or a hitman. You know, you never know.
Right.
That's right.
Sir?
Thank you.
Here is just a copy for us.
Yes, just a copy. Yes. NDOT has asked us to move Bridge 85 and 146 up 1 year. Our county has pretty good success in delivering projects. Ask is a loose word. They're telling us to do it. So we are moving those two bridges forward. We have one condemnation. I believe that'll be filed soon. We have the Hiltons have been fine with buying from, but we have an unclean title, so the title's not quite right on it, so we're gonna have to have the courts determine.
It'll be like the Burns condemnation, we don't know who owns it for sure.
So Scott will, as typical with these condemnations, we'll be in a hurry on that one. I thought we were gonna have a whole year and a half to do it, but we're gonna try to get this thing out soon, so hopefully we can move that through quickly. So those will be accelerating. 600 West update, the roundabout is open. Everybody's very happy about that. The trails are open. People are very happy about that. That was very highly used. We had a nice weather weekend last weekend, so there's a lot of foot traffic out there. A lot of people like using Schildermeyer Woods and stuff, so I think that's been a successful public work so far. The subsequent project to the south, we're working on utilities on right now. When that's built over the next couple of years, those trails will connect all the way down to the railroad tracks in New Palestine. So hopefully all those neighborhoods will be able to walk or bike or whatever they want to down to that area. We'll also fix we have a problematic intersection at 300 South and 600 West. We have a lot of accidents there, and injuries and fatalities from time to time. So hopefully that will get fixed as well when that roundabout goes in.
That's on our roundabout list, right?
And that will be the last of our portfolio of 6 West projects in the hot zone, I'll call it. So it's tough for the public. It's hard for them when we're building right there, and I can empathize with them. But once it's done, we'll be done. But it'll be tough until we're done. I don't know if we'll get building on the road part of it this year. I hate, because the utilities have a lot of moving to do. And I want to start as soon as we can start. But when you start in the summer sometimes, then you have to winterize, because it takes about a year to build it. So you build in the summer, fall, then you have to wait through the winter and then finish it up in the spring like we're doing on this one. But we'll see how the utilities go. Citizens has been problematic. We're right at the end of their water network. So for them to have the water out, because it's a 20-inch main, the large main that supplies the water tower there by the school goes down that road, which we're repairing and fixing all that as this project goes on.
Is it the same main that had the leak at the 200 West roundabout?
Correct, same one. So it's an important piece of infrastructure. It's hard to turn off, and that's kind of the tricky part of this project, really. No one can see it, but that's the trickiest part of that project. But yeah, once we start building on 600 West, we're going to get phone calls. We'll try to help as much as we can, help people out. But we'll be affecting like 4 or 5 neighborhoods there, so we'll address the needs with as much grace as needed. So we already did the bucket trucker. I talked about that. That should be arriving today, so we should have that. Bid openings for microsurface today. We have a fax that came in and 1 other bid, so we need to open those up.
A microsurface and a painting bid aligned.
They're together.
Are they the same?
They come together.
Okay.
So we need to open those up and read those into the record.
I have one from Microservicing Contractors LLC, amount of $2,383,251.
Can you say that again, Tom? I'm sorry.
$2,383,251.
FYI, this is a 50% reimbursement. We've got NDOT's on hook for 50% of this to be reimbursed.
And then from Pavement Solutions Incorporated, Microsurface, total bid $1,704,014.96.
96 cents. Scott and I'll take a quick look at those real quick. already talked about the neighborhood party. Penzi Trails has some grant money from 8666 fund they want to use for wood chipping. I have no problem with that. She said I had a problem with wood chipping out there. I don't care if they're wood chipping with a wood chipper out in that area. So you might see bills about that coming in. I couldn't quite understand what she was asking, but I think she's asking to use grant money that she got for the trail stuff to use a wood chipper out there. I don't have an issue with it. Say again?
She does have cash appropriated.
Yes, I didn't see an issue with it at all, so. We have the RFPs, we have a lot of RFPs for the 3 jobs that we got. Did we have 8 for each, Ann?
8 for 2 and 9 for
So we'll start reviewing those, and hopefully within a month, we'll have recommendations back to the commissioners on those. We modified the Penzi trail gates. I had my mechanics go out there and add some metallic tabs to the outside so they can't physically swing into the roadway at all. There's a metal block that won't let the gate swing that way. It gets in the way. So that should, I had a call from Bob Cherry about it, that someone was test driving a vehicle and struck a gate that was in the roadway. So we don't want that road hazard out there. So that tort claim might come in. The front desk still has not got a call. So I assume they're gonna let their insurance handle it through that way, so. Center and North closure, this is up in Wilkinson. They're closing that road for the new water treatment plant that they have going through there. We haven't had any issues with that so far. They will be repaving a portion of that roadway for that. Molly, Cindy's told me she's already got the payment in for that, so that should be paid soon. So Scott, that should close the Molly situation out there.
Yeah, that's good.
It's in the queue, so it's beating around there.
So the next meeting is what?
No. It's already been approved through a meeting. It's in the payment. So when do you think it will actually? So it's at the treasurer now. So probably this week it'll be to the courts.
I'll let the attorney know.
Okay. LTAP annual operations report was submitted. We do pretty well compared to our peers again this year, so that's good to see. That's on accidents and road condition and efficiency. So we're not top yet. Maybe one day. It's hard to beat Hamilton County, some of those guys, but we're trying. But we're up there. We've made good progress thanks to the commissioners allowing us to do things and the council willing to fund them. So we're appreciative of that here at the Highway Department. Pulverizing the old chip box have sold. They were just kind of holding down dirt out there, so it's good to see them go, though I'll miss the pulverizer. It started working for Hancock County in 1970, and it was
Are we gonna
time.
have a ceremony?
It's our
for it
oldest
too?
piece of equipment. We're all going to go out there and give it a hug. It still runs. It goes. It's just we don't have counties usually have all sorts of dirt roads and gravel roads. We don't have that many gravel roads. We only got like 20 miles left, so those days are gone. So it's going to go find a home, hopefully just tilling gardens or something peaceful for it. And as I said, the roundabout is open. In case you care, on the back side shows the closure up in Wilkinson. So if the news is here and they're interested in that, I have a picture of the Wilkinson closure so people can know it's not a big detour. But if people are confused, I'm sure everybody that lives there can figure it out pretty quick without my help. Scott, does it okay?
I did.
I'm going to recommend a low bidder then on the.
Insurance is here, non-inclusion. The only thing is this one has the limits. This one didn't designate, kind of limits. There's coverage.
Okay.
Travelers, they just need to know.
This one was a little bit anyway, so I think that's
Yeah.
what it was. Okay, so that will become the new point.
That's true.
servicing and traffic painting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept the low bid from Pavement Solutions Incorporated in the amount of $1,704,014 and 96 cents for microsurface and painting for Hancock County. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
And of note, that's less than our engineer's estimate, so we'll need to increase our subsequent CCMG ask to cover the difference. We need to get this into NDOT soon, and Mary, that payment for half of that will be coming in within 3 or 4 weeks.
It's right, oh, there's a pen right there.
Oh, okay.
Mary, we copy this too, so. Gentlemen, barring any questions, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Gary. You too. Kayla Brooks in planning. So this is for the Kramer rezone.
This is for Outback storage.
There's also a Kramer
There's one.
rezone.
There is also a Kramer rezone, yes.
Okay.
You'll have to run across the hall and get that folder.
Okay,
Yes, is it okay if we talk about Outback?
Yeah.
sure. Are all the people from Outback here?
I'm waiting for John.
If they're not here yet, let's just hold, and then when their complement people get here, we'll go ahead. Right,
Okay.
okay. Let's just go through our action items.
Make a motion, we approve claims and payroll.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, we approve claims and payroll as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting minutes from 4/30/2024 and 5/6/2024 as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the commission meeting minutes for 4/30/2024 and 5/6/2024 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. The Boardman farmland lease was, I think there was a ask from the Boardmans about how much tillable
Right,
property they had.
right.
Um,
There was a discrepancy there, I think. And I think the area was like 14 acres that was actually tillable, and then, but I think the lease said 16 or something.
I think the lease said 14, but when you look at what's already been tillable on there, I had Chad Kokenauer measure it out, and he said there's
12.
just 11. But they're for some reason they're able to plant 12. They said when they did it, their calculation came up to 12.
Right. So, the question then is, do they pay for the 12 then, or not?
I don't know because
I would rather stick with what we know it is. That way we can always back it up. Whether they saying they're farming more or not.
what do you think, sir?
I don't think we should charge them what they're able to tell.
Right.
I just
But
don't
they're saying
know.
that they're tilling 12. We don't think there's a-
And when we look and measure it out on our map, it's 11, and I'm like, well, that's still in their benefit.
It is.
Because if,
I agree with Gary though, if we can prove 11, then I'll just do 11.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever our information shows.
Yeah. That way we've got somebody saying this is what it is.
Okay,
Blame it on Chad.
that's right.
Yeah.
That 1 acre add up over a couple hundred years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make a big difference.
Point finger.
They put flowers on it.
Flowers deniability, eh?
All right.
I don't know what ordinance 2024.
That's the,
Was that 11 even?
yes, he said 11 even. The ordinance number 2024 was, it had originally said Parks Department, but it's supposed to say Parks Board.
So we just amended.
Because we didn't create a Parks Department.
Okay. Do we have that? I just hope we don't have a parks board eminent domain. That's all I care about, is not giving them power and eminent domain.
Yeah.
I don't have a copy of it.
I'll ask Miriam if she has a copy of it. Miriam, do you have a copy of the ordinance that we did for the parks?
I have it.
You have it?
And we'll have that before the meeting's out.
Okay, so just skip on that right now? Okay. So the ARPA Community End of Agreement Letter, it's been received by Community Hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and Amanda Everidge is clear, and she'd asked for a 30-day extension, and Scott has talked to her, and he's talked to Community Hospital, so that's going the way it should go.
I talked to Amanda yesterday.
Okay.
So we're pretty along the way on the contract, revised contract for them.
Okay.
Since communities.
Okay. Then the community corrections job title change is just, they have the position, and it's going from field manager to case manager. I think we just, that's an amendment.
So we just tell them, go for it.
I think it's a motion that we start that just says, for the community corrections job title change from field manager to case manager, we're amending the job title to the position that they already have. It's the same pay, everything stays the same,
Field manager.
from field
case
manager to case manager.
Make a motion that we modify the job title from field manager to case manager for the community corrections.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we modify the job title for community corrections position from field manager to case manager as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes. I think it's an ordinance.
What's that?
The
Yes.
Are you ready? Okay. Go ahead.
At the April 23rd Plan Commission agenda, Mitchell Kramer presented his petition to rezone his property from agricultural to commercial community to operate a diesel repair facility, which has been a non-conforming use in that neighborhood in Brown Township on the county line with Madison County, between 1000 East and 1100 East. So basically to continue what he's been doing as a non-conforming use and make it legal, essentially. He's ready to grow his business. This is a business that serves the agricultural community as well as other folks in the area that have diesel equipment. As a non-conforming use, it's operated without any complaints, any comments, and because of its ability to serve the existing agricultural uses in that area, which keeps local farmers from having to drive their equipment or have it hauled into more urban areas where it might cause traffic conflicts. It did receive a favorable recommendation from the Plan Commission with the condition that use of the property is limited to agricultural and other vehicle and equipment service and repair for the use auto repair and body shop. So favorable recommendation unanimously, I believe. Let me just double check that.
I think it was.
I think it was too, yeah. And Mr. Kramer is here today, as well as his attorney, Sylvia Miller. And we've got a very thorough set of commitments that outline the use of the property being limited to agricultural and other vehicle and equipment service and repair. And yeah, I've looked over it, edited it, and Sylvia Miller has confirmed that it is acceptable. So that's it, more or less. Do you have any questions for the petitioner?
Not unless they want to come up and just share what they're doing. Sure.
Okay.
Okay. And you said favorable recommendation? Okay. I don't think we do.
This is the certification and the ordinance documents and the exhibit. And would you like to see,
I think we're gonna need a copy of it so that will actually be the document that I guess we sign here.
You have an ordinance number?
Ordinance number will be 2024-5C.
I'll introduce ordinance number 2024-5C. Ordinance amending the zoning ordinance 2007-1B. I make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2024-5C as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We adopt ordinance number 2024-5C as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
You might as well stick around. John's here. Thank you.
all right. Outback Storage presented a petition to rezone a parcel of land from R1 residential to IBP Industrial Business Park located at State Road 9, just north of Maxwell Intermediate. And it is 2.25 acres, and it received no recommendation from our Plan Commission by a vote of 5 ayes and 3 nays. So this was a split vote. We tried it all 3 ways, and this is the motion that passed. Might be off. Well, but ultimately, staff's recommendation was negative due to the fact that the lot is too narrow to be a legal IBP zoning lot, and also because the uses shown on the comprehensive plan show this area more as a planned neighborhood feel versus industrial. This is an area that in the past has had a lot of back and forth regarding what is appropriate use versus what is not. You've got county or country, I always building
across the
materials
street.
across the street. And you have an assortment of other small industrial facilities, contractors and such located to the north. Then you have the village of Maxwell as well, with a school and some other small businesses. So zoning in this area has been a little bit difficult, which is why the Plan Commission was only able to pass a motion with no recommendation on this particular request. Ultimately, we do see this in the comprehensive plan wrapping into more of a neighborhood, maybe commercial, something of that nature that really interacts well with the school being there, and also more housing developing around the school. The use that is proposed, if this rezoning should go through, is RV and boat storage. I'm concerned that we're trying to fit a little much on that lot with that zoning designation, with that use in particular. If it was further off of State Road 9 than it is, it's right up on State Road 9 at this point, I'd feel a little bit better about it. I have no doubt that Mr. Smith will try his very best to abide by our landscaping ordinances and other design standards. I'm just afraid that'll be hard to meet given the small size of that lot. So that's where we're at. We surely appreciate Mr. Smith's dedication to improving the village of Maxwell, and hope that he will continue to do so, but that's where we fall on this particular zoning ordinance request.
Why the IBP over, let's say, like an industrial light? Is that?
IBP is actually our very lightest industrial category.
Okay.
IL would be more intensive. So IBP is just the bare minimum to get that boat RV storage as a permitted use.
Do you guys have any other
If they're gonna build more houses around there, they're gonna need more places to store boats and RVs. Nobody's gonna build a house there.
What does the planned neighborhood designation allow when you talk about planned? Because it really looks like it's surrounded on all sides by anything but a neighborhood.
Yes, that was a difficult part of this request for us to look at as well. The land that the school owns behind this property, part of it is still zoned ag, and in speaking to the superintendent, there is potentially an opportunity for that land to be sold if the right project were to come along. This particular project up along State Road 9, of course, it doesn't make a lot of sense unless you group it in with other properties. So this is definitely the comprehensive plan being long-range looking and looking at the big picture of uses, not at present parcel sizes and boundaries, which makes it very difficult when a particular petition comes before us with a particular request to do this on this existing lot. But according to the comprehensive plan, we are to avoid strip-type development up and down State Road 9, and instead try to encourage more residential, more planned unit development in the areas along State Road 9, limiting access to State Road 9. That was a big one, which once again, given existing lot shapes, it's hard to know what a future circulation pattern might be in the future. But it was a tricky and tough call for our Plan Commission and for staff as well. But ultimately, we stand by our plan, and the plan states that planned neighborhood, which looks further out in the future at developing this as a sort of mainly single family, but also neighborhood commercial type development. Such as, say, maybe a daycare or a neighborhood serving coffee shop, restaurant, things like that, that would tie all in together. Maybe a local urgent care or a dentist office, something like that. Shopping center.
Storage serves the community too.
Storage does serve the community too. I definitely agree with that. I would say my only reservation on this particular site is the existing small size of it, and also the fact that it is right up on State Road 9, which is in our corridor overlay district. If it were further off of State Road 9, say back by Mr. Smith's other endeavors, just to the north, it might be a much better fit. But I leave it up to you. It wasn't a no recommendation. We were a split board.
And I'll stand with our plan.
Okay, is that on?
That's
Any
it.
more? Any further?
We did receive one letter of support from a neighbor also.
Okay, well, there was some additional letters of support in that packet, it looked like, from the county,
The school also.
county materials, the school, and an automotive shop. Okay, thank you. Mr. Smith, do you wanna come up?
I need to swear in?
No.
Okay, just the other.
State your name for the record.
John Smith, Smith Projects, Outback Storage, McAfee Beats. Own a lot of the post office in the area, have a lot of businesses there. Looking to expand the current facility we have, which is Outback Storage. It's currently indoor storage. We get requests weekly for outdoor storage, and there's a need for it. And so we purchased this property 2 years ago, let the lady who lived there stay there for the 2 years. She's since relocated, and now we'd like to put outdoor storage. Letters of support, we do have all adjoining property owners. So we have the school, Dr. Olin, who's gave a letter of support in writing. We have County Materials, which is adjacent to the east, who's gave support. We have the neighbors to the north, residential, letters of support, and obviously we own the property that surrounds that. So we have support from everyone in the area, so we're looking to rezone that in order to provide for the community. We own over 30 parcels in the Maxwell or adjoining Greenfield area. We've continued to try to make those great and grow the area. I'm more vested in Maxwell, Indiana than probably any other individual, so I want it to look great. We'll do a great job. We have vacant space at the post office, so if you would see before and after pictures of that, which we presented at the earlier meetings, it was dilapidated, very poor shape. We've completely put new stuck on the exterior, all new windows, new flooring, new roof, new siding, awnings. We've invested about $400,000 in that building to make it a nice looking staple for the area. We have vacant office space there, which Hart Sumerian is currently listing, and we've had it listed for about 7-8 months. We haven't had any traction. We had one individual who was working with NDOT on the State Road 9 project and didn't lease it. So as far as office space, I think in the future that might be something we would convert to, but for now, outdoor storage, in our opinion, I do a lot of development in Indiana, is the best use for that property. I know people want it to look nice and want to be the node of Maxwell, but we have County Materials, which is a concrete plant storing pipe and concrete outside. You have the school, who takes up a large area. You have the grain, Maxwell Grains, who takes up a large area. I don't think they're going anywhere soon. They just invested a lot of money in new grain bins. So the picture that we want to pose as a small Fishers or something like that just isn't there yet. And in the future it may be. And if so, we would change our model to meet those needs. We could obviously take a fence down and put up a nice building. We'd love to. And rents would be better. The return on investment would be better. It's just not fitting at this time. And so I think that's where Carla mentions it's kind of a tough fit what goes there in Maxwell right now. And as it develops and 9 Star continues to bring water and sewer in, those things might be available. But there is no water there now. You can drill a well, and Jackson Well Drilling's for sale. So you can drill a well and hope that worked to supply your needs. As far as sewer, the capacity is small. It has a 3-inch main that runs on the opposite side of our property. It actually goes in behind the property we're looking to rezone, and there's a sewer treatment plant there. So to say that we could use our parcel as an access to the school's future development if they were to sell, of which we've tried to buy for 10 years. We did buy 10 acres off of them. We rezoned it to industrial, and we use it for a storage yard. If that 40 acres was ever to sell from the school, we've let them know we'd be very interested in doing something. We do residential developments. We own Hoxtail Golf Course. We're looking to do a development in front of it of 38 acres. We just finished a 178 parcel home in Westfield, so we know that market and we know what works. Maxwell's just not there yet. Custom homes in Maxwell work, and north of Maxwell. Sapphire Springs has been a great development. We were involved in that from day one. You know, there's multi-million-dollar homes in there now, and it's awesome, but that has a pond on it, and so that makes it unique for that area. The property to the south of that was for sale and did sell for, I believe, $18,000 an acre. They're looking at future growth. The capacity's not there in that sewer line that's currently feeding the property to the south, so it's gonna be some time. But as Nine Star starts to develop, obviously they're focused on the west side of the community now, and we understand that with the large industrial buildings and warehouses. And so once that shift is completed and maybe we're over here, then again, we would realign with what would be better fitted for that property if and when that happens. But at this point, it's just not there. There's no, I would build a building and put it up in a heartbeat and lease it out if that could make a return on investment, but it won't. And so we have two options, in my opinion. I have two options. We either rezone the property, we do outdoor storage there, or we leave a small residence there, which we may or may not remodel. We started the interior and we've stopped just because of where we're at now. Our intent would be to remodel that house and have outdoor storage. The person who lived there would maintain that. We've had no incidences at Outback Storage to the north. Matter of fact, we've got one individual, and Bobby can speak of that, that broke into a house in Twin Oaks and came into our property. We had them on camera. They used a flock camera, tracked them down, and arrested them. So it's pretty simple. We have all the support of the people around us, and we think it fits well. So we're just looking for your vote to help us move that forward. I'd be glad to answer any questions I can.
You guys have any questions? Mr. Smith?
He's done a lot in the community, and he knows a lot about how to fight the planning commission. Probably done more development in the county than anybody that lives in the county.
I understand that. And it's challenging because we've done a lot, we've spent a lot on a comprehensive plan for good guidance and growth wherever in Hancock County, and taken our planning director's recommendations in consideration as well as yours.
Sure, understand.
It's a tough decision. I think I'm more inclined myself to lean into my planning commission director's guidance
Okay.
as to what's going on there. But I would ask either one of you if you want to make a recommendation or a motion to offer up a motion.
I'd make a motion that we allow the rezoning to IPP of the discussed property. It's long enough.
Okay, yeah, there, I'm not gonna,
There's no second.
there is no second, so is there a motion then for a non-approval of, the rezone request by Outback Storage?
I make a motion for a non-approval.
Second, it's been properly moved and seconded that, the rezoning request for Outback Storage, not be recommended.
I
Any
know you'll do a
discussion?
good job, I
It'll
see
look
that.
like crap for the next 20 years, that's fine.
Well-
It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Greg, do you want to come up in place of John Jaconis? is he today? He's
He is on vacation. It is anniversary time for John, which usually he spends in glorious Columbus, Ohio. So nothing too exotic.
All right, so I got a few things for you here. Most of the stuff is things we've discussed in previous meetings. We'll go down John's list here. He went to the effort of putting it together for me. So we'll start with the 911 Center kitchen remodel. This is part of the building remodel project. This is one of the pieces of it. It's the biggest piece of it. This will conclude the kitchen remodel other than appliances. The quote is in your packet there at $35,956 to be paid for out of our 2023 GO bond. And then hopefully this last time we're talking kitchen until we're ready for appliances here in a few months.
Make a motion, we approve the quote from ICS Services in the amount of $35,956 to be paid for out of the 911 2023 GO bond.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the 911 Center kitchen remodel to be done by ICS in an amount not to exceed $35,956 to be paid for out of the 911 Center 2023 GO bond. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, our next up is the 911 Center CCTV upgrade. I know we talked cameras quite a bit. This one's actually to switch out a server over at the 911 Center and put up 2 additional cameras that John and I just ran some cabling for the other day. The quote is in the packet as well at $79.25 through Nelson Alarm to be paid for out of our CCD.
Make a motion that we approve the equipment sales agreement with Nelson Alarms in the amount of $7,926 to be paid for out of the 911 CCD line.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the equipment sales agreement between Nelson Alarm and the 911 Center for CCTV upgrades in the amount of $7,925 to be paid for out of the 911 CCD line. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
The next one is just approval to replace a employee that stepped down from her full-time position to go part-time. She was one that she's pursuing her degree. We're happy to see her doing that. We're also happy she's staying part-time. She's a great employee. Good all around for both sides here. And we actually have, one of the reasons I was happy you could see me early is we have interviews this afternoon to start to replace our open position and then hopefully to replace hers. So just need approval on that.
Make a motion that we approve the new employee request for E911 as presented.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the new employee request for the 911 Center as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion passes.
The next is just a
Right there.
request for approval to submit a grant. It's the same grant that we got. I believe we started the process in 2022. It's for the cameras that ended up on the courthouse. We will be resubmitting for that grant for a few different additional projects, the biggest of which being here to install a camera for the elevator in the annex. We just need your approval before we can actually fulfill and submit that grant. It would be a pass-through grant, same as the last time around, so the county covers up front and then they cover on the back end.
Make a motion that we approve the submission of the grant, the SHSP grant for 2024.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the submission of the 2024 SHSP grant by the 911 Center as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right, last that I've got for you is a change order request on the project at the courthouse for door access. It's an additional $23.80 for another reader for one of the judges over at the courthouse. Through Nelson Alarm again. Yeah, again, it's just a change order on a current project.
Make a motion that we approve the $2,380 change order for the door access reader at the courthouse to be paid for out of the 911 GO bond.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the change order in the amount of $2,380 for door access card reader at the Hancock County Courthouse to be paid for out of the 911 bond. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Appreciate it. That's all I got. Wish us luck on the interviews. We had almost 200 people apply
Oh, wow.
for the 2 positions. We'll be interviewing 16 this afternoon and then moving on down the road. So we'll keep it going.
Awesome, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, we're gonna take a break.
Good timing. I want to talk to you guys about, remember Cross?
Yeah.
So he wants to withdraw his petition.
Does he need to come here today to do that though?
And I was talking, his 9 days are up May 27th.
Yeah,
He did it by, he stated his intent. And he
Okay.
didn't formally say he wants to withdraw his petition, so he did send an email out. It did come to me. So I don't know that he has to do that publicly.
so do we don't have to do anything like, hey, we wanna call this,
No, we should.
call it back to the table?
We should address it and say we're going to approve his petition and withdraw. I think it's okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're sure he wants to
Because
withdraw.
Morlock says he thinks it's procedurally okay for him to do that.
Okay,
And that's the planning commission's order, so.
okay, okay,
So I'm okay with that.
okay.
I think there's nothing prohibiting it, so kind of under home rule, I think you can
Okay,
do that.
so we'll call it back to the table
Yeah.
and then say, legal counsel for Mr. Cross.
Right.
For the petitioners
As
of the truck
requested.
has requested a withdrawal, and we'll grant it.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Great.
All right, we can do
The
that.
other thing is that he talked to
Oh, yeah,
his recollection was is that they did want to come a truck stop. So,
see, that was not what the planning commission, wanted it to be. They wanted it to be a place where trucks came, all the same trucks. Now, when you look through what Mr. Pritzky said, his was, he wanted the people who own the lots, it to be their trucks. I'm like, no one caught that kind of verbal, just difference in there. And I think what we're looking for too is, hey, let's get this all cleaned up and to a better position. But then you look back too at the way that those lots have been taken care of over the last couple of years. Well, I'm concerned about that. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's,
yeah. But he's in a better position to do that than just
Right.
have to wait a whole year and not do that. So we can do that.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna run.
You forgot this box,
I haven't done it yet. see it. Hey, no, I'm telling you, we were up in a firearms range the other day, and I'm like, I don't see that. That's probably my punch ticket off. This ain't good.
You still have to qualify with both hands. Basically, for that.
Well, and I've never shot with this. This is your strong side, and just get used to that. They say you can, I don't know, but I just,
Even left-handed.
you have portions where of the qualification process, you have to switch your gun over and shoot left-handed.
You still use your right eye.
Still use my right eye to do it all. If I could focus on the front sight, I would, but I can't even see that. It's just been a pain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You ready to go again or what?
When Scott's ready.
Okay.
I see this is supposed to be an ordinance.
What's that? It is supposed to be an ordinance. I would think. I don't think I've ever seen anything that wasn't ordered.
Did you guys see that?
A resolution.
It's another sign there, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to sign that. I forgot that. Scott, are you ready to go?
Yes, I was just checking on that ordinance. It should be here at the park board.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Do we want to go with Mr. Cross's?
Yeah, by the way, he's here, so.
Okay.
And he's prepared to say what he's already stated in his email, that he wants to withdraw.
Okay.
We can do that.
Okay.
He can put it on the record.
Okay. He's gonna, withdraw, but we're gonna put the motion back on the table, and then he's gonna ask for withdrawal, and we'll make a motion that we approve his request to withdraw. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, President, members of the Commissioner. John Cross here for PSG Realty, JVS Transport, Switch Logistics, and Switch Holdings, and HSG Cargo with respect to their petitions to terminate and modify certain commitments with respects to 2748, 2710, 2670, 2642 North 700 West Greenfield, Indiana 46140. And we did submit an email request to withdraw those petitions, and here and present to make the oral request of the same, just request that they be recognized.
Okay, so I will go ahead and ask that the request that you had at our last commissioner meeting that we had taken off the table be brought back to the table. And now that it's back on the table, we have a request from Mr. Cross that this petition be withdrawn. So I just need a motion for a favorable recommendation for him to withdraw.
I make a motion that we approve the withdrawal from Mr. Cross.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the withdrawal request from Mr. Cross as presented. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Who? Yeah, he's the GIS funding, so they're gonna ask for some money. Gary says we have it programmed in REC. We'll have to share what's for, but Gary says we've got money to be able to do what his request is. John, you wanna come up and speak on the GIS funding request?
Yes, I'm here today to discuss entering into a local government enterprise agreement with our GIS software vendor, Esri. It essentially give us kind of a for a flat fee, unlimited GIS licenses. We can share those with some of our municipalities, especially, did discuss it with the city of Greenfield. They're willing to pay a third of the cost. So it's kind of good for both of us. I think potentially we could ask some of the other municipalities in the future, provide them maybe with some initial software. They already have, I think everyone's working with Esri software already anyway. So perhaps I discussed with the RDC and the council, and I think they would like the other municipalities to kind of contribute a little bit too. I mean, at least what they're already paying in maintenance, and we essentially give them unlimited licenses with that. I don't know we'll get quite as much money like as we do with Greenfield, of course, the municipalities. The big, kind of the driver for I think using the GIS software is a lot of utilities, since Greenfield's heavy utility municipality. They have a lot of licenses already in play. For example, McCordsville, I mean, they're growing at a pretty high rate, but they only have like 2 licenses right now with their engineer and their planner that are using software. Potentially New Pal might be in the future since they have utilities. So I can reach out to them. The town manager seemed kind of receptive. Aside from that, no one in the RDC or the council really questioned if we should do it or not. I think the agreement was that we should. It was more, how are we going to fund it? And they wanted me to reach out to the Board of Commissioners to say, okay, where do you want the money to come from, essentially.
Gary Poole had mentioned he has some of that money available in the RDC budget, so we could take it from there. What is that offhand?
The entirety of the contract is $175,500 over 3 years, divided among 3 years. The city would pay a third of that, or reimburse us for a third of that. So would be 5,800, 58,000 and I think 200. 5.
Is that the ESRI quote?
Yeah, it's in there.
Scott, have you been able to look at this agreement with the ESRI?
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with that.
Okay.
Paid for RDC.
RDC.
Make a motion that we accept the quote from ESRI in the amount of $175,500 for a 3-year term, with the $58,500 annual installments being paid from the RDC.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we enter into a contract with ESRI in the amount of $175,500 with yearly installments of $58,500 for the next 3 years coming from the RDC budget. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anybody here from Public Defender at all? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jeremy, I didn't see you back there. Okay. You wanna come on up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Janice is just handing out little packets for each of you to take a look at. I know, right?
Thank you.
It'll just be MacBooks.
Morning.
Good morning.
We're here today to seek the addition of a new attorney position for the Public Defender's Office. Right now, the office was created in '22 with 2 staff members, 3 attorneys. I think we're at a point now, given the growth of the county, the increase in cases that we're seeing, I think you've seen that too in talking to Mr. Eaton and others for that office, that it's becoming more of a need, and I think the numbers that we're going to show you and go through today would support that, and would ask you to consider this. What I want to kind of go through a little bit with you, explain how the money works. First off, I don't have that calculated out for today, and I know maybe this is more of a bigger concern for the council. However, our office does get back from the State Public Defenders Commission 40% of qualified expenses in, not reimbursement, but it's what I'm looking for. It's a reimbursement, I guess, yeah. So I think we're averaging close to $400,000 a year coming back into the county's general fund from the commission. So really, when you look at like salary expenses particularly, that's, and also the benefits the county pays out up to a certain threshold, but the county's entitled and gets about 40% of that back up until the 4th quarter once we reach a maximum contribution. So one of the first page in your packet there is just the showing of the attorney services that we've paid out to other attorneys in the county over the past few years. Make sure you understand how that works. Our office can take pretty much almost all the public defender assignments in the county, except for those where primarily we have some kind of conflict, a multiple co-defendant case where other co-defendants get public defenders also. That attributes an inherent conflict to us, or the 3 of us in our office can't just divide that between us. Since we're in the same office, that has to be conflicted out. A lot of the CHINs, JC cases, termination cases do get farmed out just because, again, more and more conflict issue. There's often multiple parents on these cases, and we have a whole stable of attorneys that take those. We take the few that we can, but on any given case, we can only take 1. The drug court program is actually Representative John Keys handles that for the courts. He has for several years. We are looking to try to take that in. Myron's looking forward, actually, if we can get another attorney to bring that in-house. So that would amount to several $1,000s at least a year staying in-house. And I don't think Mr. Keys would be adverse to giving that up. And then Judge Davis's Behavioral Health Court, Jeff McClernand handles that. I don't know how much we'll spend on that this year, but first year was $7,800. Last year was over $20,000. This year, though, we're at a much lower level. So it depends on when Mr. McClernand invoices us for things, but right now that's just an expense. But those second 3 lines, 3, 4, and 5, are all included already in line number 2, the attorney services. So those aren't an addition. So in 2023, we spent $385,600.
You said they are added to line.
No, they are not added. So you don't need to add the 154, the 7,400, the 20,000. Those are broken out of line 2.
Okay.
So there's no need to add those in. Otherwise, we would have given you a total at the bottom. Okay, so that's what we've been spending, and we're on pace this year again to spend probably close to that $380,000 out of the office. But in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing we can do about that fundamentally to save the county any money. Those are cases that cannot be paid for, or that we can't handle in office, and that even if this office didn't exist, those expenses are going to be incurred by the county anyway, period. That's just the way it is. If you move to the yellow tab, this shows the PD assignments to the local bar that have gone outside of the 3 of us in the office. And to explain what these projected hours are, the state commissioned a study a year or 2 ago across the state, where they kind of looked into, on any given level of offense, what is the average number of hours required to provide competent representation and resolve the case. And if you look at line 4, that's MR, that means it's a murder case. Their estimate is that on average takes about 232 hours to resolve a murder case. You go down each class, F1, F2 felonies, F3, F4, obviously they drop down a bit. Look at a misdemeanor, level 9, or line 9 says CN, those are misdemeanors. They average about 12.6 hours per case. It could be more than that depending on the complexity. It could be less of that if it just resolves very quickly. But if we look at these numbers, these are how many cases of each of those types in 2022, 23, and so far this year that have been farmed out to private counsel. And at the bottom is the projected hours. Those were cases, not that they actually took or what we've been billed, but that line 24 shows, if you add those numbers up, how many hours it would take to complete those cases that were assigned in each of those years. And I think we're getting to a point now that we've got rid of what we talked to council about was these legacy cases, cases that were assigned out and predated the creation of the office. Now we're getting to a point where we're seeing bills now for just stuff in the current year for cases that have been since our office was created. So I think last year, it looks at, we farmed out the equivalent of cases adding up to about 3,386. So our public defenders, the local, they work on an hourly contract basis. They bill us $100 an hour. That will be going up to 110, I think, in January. We're looking into that again. But simple multiplication indicates that, shows we'd be paying it. If that's how many hours they took in 2023, for instance, it would cost the county about $338,000. And I think as what we're seeing our numbers are and what we're paying out each year now is probably going to be pretty close to these numbers. It's an average, but so I think it's going to give us a better chance to kind of predict as we move forward when and where we need more attorney services funding and stuff. But and all of this is just to show. I'm going to compare this now to kind of what the attorneys, Myron and Mark and myself, make in the. So if you turn to the red tab, this shows how many assignments were in. We took on just in our office in 2022. So Mark took on, he handles most of the level 6 and misdemeanor cases that we get out of Superior 2. Myron and I both handle cases there also just because of some caseload requirements that I'll get into in a minute. But for instance, if you just look at the far column, column M in line 21, the total number of hours projected on all the numbers and types of cases would require, on an average, about 10,595 hours that the 3 of us are handling. If those cases were then divided out to the local bar, you're looking at spending over $1 million in payments to outside counsel that the county is paying us a combined salary right now of about $400,000, maybe a little less for the 3 of us.
Sounds like a bargain there.
And don't forget on top of that then, of that $400,000, you're getting 40% back.
Right. So,
in fact, you're getting, whatever, $40,000 back on top of that. So, and in 2023, if you look at the next page, on page 2 of the red tab, about $1.2 million for the cases we took last year. And so far, the next page in 2024, we're basically looking on pace to meet the same numbers roundabouts 2022, 2023. Again, for the same salary. I mean, if you look at that third page, the total hours projected, again, just a projection, would be $370,000 in payments on what we've handled so far this year, are continuing to handle. So we don't charge an hourly rate, we get our salary generously provided by the county. So just that, I think, shows how much, and again, that's 40% comes back from those salaries that we get in our house. And we're pretty close to getting right about 40%. We don't get reimbursement for misdemeanor cases. There's some probation violations we get assigned to, but there's a whole formula secret to the commission. I don't know how they do their actuarial tables or whatever they use. But we're still pretty close to 40% every quarter when we do that. And now we start kind of talking about the case numbers on the blue tab, the loads. This is from the commission, and in order to maintain that reimbursement from the Indiana Public Defender Commission, we have to follow certain rules and guidelines they've set out. One is a caseload management. We don't want people, attorneys having too many cases. You get too many cases, you don't provide adequate representation. And I think that's something IPAC and prosecutors are starting to look at for themselves, and I think Brent might have brought that to not only you, but the council also trying to support their need for more attorneys. that they're providing good representation to the county also for their criminal prosecutions. But there are two different columns there on this next page. The inadequately staffed is what it means, and or adequately staffed. And these are still changing. I think they're going to change again somewhat in 2025. It won't really affect us regardless of how we turn out here. But the adequately staffed, it means, if you look at table 2 on the bottom of that page, like secretary, paralegal line, it requires that our office have 1 support staff basically for every 4 full-time attorneys to be adequately staffed, for all of us to be adequately staffed. We have that right now with Janice and Ashton. There are 2 of them. If now, under these guidelines to remain adequately staffed, if we hire another attorney, technically for all of us to maintain adequate staffing, we would have to hire another staff person. We don't have to do that though, and still be able to handle our job, because what that would happen if we do add another attorney, one of the attorneys has to become, quote, inadequately staffed. And our plan would be, that would be me, because I already handle slightly less caseload than the other 2, given my other responsibilities, running the office, doing those sorts of things. But we've already looked at the numbers, and I could basically maintain the same assignments if I need to as now. It would put me close to that 100% mark, but it's still easily manageable, especially because I could divest, if I needed to, some of the cases I handle on like court 2 and divide those between the other 3 without having to hire another staff person, which that's $40,000 or so plus benefits that we're doing our best to try to save the county at this point. I'm sure at some point down the road, as the county continues to grow, we'll have more attorneys, more staff persons, and that's just the nature of things. But for now, these 2 tables just kind of show how many of each type of cases somebody could have. But these are all prorated depending on how many cases you have. You can't have 15 murders and 50 level 1s, level 2s, and it's all formulas in the background that we have a whole spreadsheet that helps us keep track of those. So then on the final page, I just want to kind of show you, this is what the commission kind of sees every quarter when we see stuff, is these numbers get assigned to us and we assign them to attorneys. This is 2022 is our first year, kind of a learning curve for us. And we are allowed to go as high for the 4 quarters per year. And it's a rolling 4-quarter thing, and I'll explain that in a minute. But we're allowed to go up to 110% of maximum caseload. That doesn't mean that's where we want to be, and we shouldn't have to be there, really. But that's where as high as we can go before we start getting ding letters from the commission saying, why are you so high? What's going on with your numbers? And the risk being, if we continue that cycle, we run the risk of getting too heavily caseloads, and then possibly losing reimbursement, which nobody wants. But for instance, if you look at the top line there, the 2022 scale, these rolling quarters, what I mean by rolling quarters is, so you look at Mark Manchek in 2022, his line in the first quarter, he was at 0.31%, with 31% of a maximum caseload. They want us to, the goal is to stay under 25 each quarter, 25% of your caseload. But he was at 31, then 36, then 35, and then the fourth quarter he was at 7%, and that's because I had to stop giving him cases. I mean, he ended up at 1.1 for the year. Now, what happened then in January? And you can kind of skip down back to 2023. The next thing, he is at 31.1% on the first quarter. But what happened? It's a rolling four quarters. So the first quarter from 2022 would have dropped off, and then as you move forward through the quarter, your numbers start accumulating. So we never really go below, at least at the start of a quarter, 75% or so. But we start from new. So you can kind of look at that for each number. I'm happy to answer questions if you need some more guidance on any of these. But like in 2022, and what's I've had to do for the past 3 years to try to keep these numbers in is usually about every quarter or so, we see if somebody's getting close to that 25% or that 30% compared to also that yearly number. I mean, they can go to 30% a quarter. I don't want them hitting over 1.1 for the rolling 4 quarters. So what I've had to do is come up with ways to change our rotation primarily out of Superior 2. Byron handles all the stuff in Superior 1 or Circuit Court. I handle all the stuff for the most part in Superior 1. And then Mark handles everything but the overflow because it's one attorney can't handle everything down there. So, but sometimes I was going, okay, give Mark 4 cases, be like it's some kind of rotation. Mark gets 4, Myron gets 3, I get 2. Then I had to change to Mark getting 3 and Myron getting 2 and me getting 3. Or there's been it's been a rolling battle every quarter trying to, and we're kind of a spot now where we're keeping that, but my guys are still floating at the top end of that 100% right now. You know, right now in the rolling 4 quarters, and we are, you know, we're halfway through the second quarter right now. But right now, Mark's at 87%, Myron's at 91%, I'm at 66. And that's where we are just without, we got another month and a half to add to those numbers. So I'm sure we're gonna be bumping up there. I don't know at this point if I'm gonna have to add, you know, to balance the numbers again. I would be surprised if I don't have to, maybe, whether that's me taking on more cases, which I can do, I'm fine doing that. It's a job. So, but I think at this point, showing the money we're saving the county so far, trying to save. I mean, the external expenses are always gonna be there. We are always gonna have to pay outside counsel. But when we run into these things where sometimes we still have to farm, I mean, in addition to changing the rotation, sometimes like we have to, last December, we had to farm a bunch of stuff out that we normally could have kept in-house, but because Mark and Myron's numbers were too high. So that's saving money to the county at least because they're getting paid $110 an hour, whereas we're still doing it for salary. So we're looking to hopefully add another attorney position to handle, and I'm not sure how we divide it out at this point. I know we'd like to take on more Chin's cases and as much as we can and have another person that can be qualified to do that, and just divide some of the work out more. I don't know how with only 3 courts still, but there's plenty of ways to divide that out and make sure there's somebody qualified and to do more Chin stuff, some of that, some more focus on a particular type of case, whether it's, you know, level 6 drunk driving cases and stuff. And I also want to be able to use Mark more. I mean, he has 16 years of experience, 17 years of experience as an attorney doing prosecution and defense work. He's a good attorney. And I'd like to be able to utilize that. And he wants more responsibility to do higher level cases. So it'll allow us to get more experience on him, divide some of the work out. So I think at this point, I think the county could use, and also could definitely use another attorney. I appreciate you listening to me, so.
So you're here too to ask for a favorable recommendation to the council of the addition of
Yes, sir.
another attorney?
That would be my request, yes, sir.
Well, it makes sense. When you show the numbers and you're effectively using everybody that you have right now at your disposal, and that to keep somebody in-house saves, it looks like $600,000 in one end. You're gonna get a certain percentage of money back from the state, depending on what, I think you had said the other day, if it was anything above a misdemeanor, and they're also gonna look into the fact that they may start to pay money back for certain misdemeanors as well.
Yes, Janice, we were looking at that. They're starting a pilot program. I don't know if we'll get selected for that, but it would, and I don't know if they'd, well, yeah, it'd still be a 40% reimbursement on misdemeanor stuff. So yeah, it would bring more kind of back in. And again, this money, these reimbursements don't come into us. I think you're well aware that goes back into the general fund for when I have to come back and ask for more attorney services money or whatever it might be.
Explained better than just I need more.
Exactly. You actually laid it right out there, and we know that.
I mean, I need more. If I need me to say that, I could say.
Even you, as the head of your department, is out there taking on a load, and that's appreciated.
Well, it comes with the job, and I love doing that. Actually, you know, I wasn't sure what it was going to be like coming over to this side of things, having been a prosecutor for so long, but I really enjoyed it and getting to be part of the community. So, and I have great guys. I mean, this girl needs more money too. We'll talk to the council about that, but I have great staff.
Well, guys, I'd entertain a favorable recommendation to the council for an additional.
I make a motion that we make a favorable recommendation to the council to add 1 attorney to the public defender's office.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we would make a favorable recommendation to the county council for the public defender's office to add another attorney to their roles as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Okay. Oh, I think we'll hang on till you get back. I'm just gonna go tell Misty and Kelly they're up next. I don't know where Brian is. Corey said he did not have it. We talked about it today. Said everything is going the way it's supposed to go. The DOD onboard is just gonna be delayed another week. They just needed another week to firm up their bid package. Oh, he talked about it. He was just saying, hey, man, we were talking about parking lot resealing. And I said, that's gonna take care of next year. No, that top will float off. Yeah. That top will float off and go away. I'll wait till Scott gets 10:30. Yeah. Yeah, right. Everybody is here that we have left to deal with, so.
Everything else going okay for you?
Think so. Hang it in there. You remember Hancock Lodge?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 101?
Yeah. I'm thinking about transferring there.
Oh, yeah. Were you out of,
Sure.
oh, you're out of Shirley, okay.
Basically, it's Henry County there.
Okay.
Down in the lodge.
You know, that's with every organization out there. These places are, people don't get involved anymore.
Well, the ones that are involved, it's their fiefdom. It's those, it's gonna be the way we go on.
Well, you know, I think that like the American Legion, the 40 and age, I think those all need to be combined anyway. Cause they're all dealing with former servicemen and women, so,
I've
and,
been taking my lodge off a couple years ago.
oh, yeah.
Well, I was senior warden, and there was my father-in-law had applied to join the lodge. And except two people that signed, one of them wasn't a member of the lodge. And so they did his application and everything. But then he was never interviewed for us next month. Back here, so I said, "Man, we didn't have what his signature was in there." But who decided that?
I don't know what that means, but.
That's the problem with oversight. Who decided outside? Our lodge was what the candidate was, or comments were. Even though you're in the corner, we need that.
Yes, it does.
The same thing happened to me with Racket.
Hopefully she can give us some direction.
That's weird. I know who signed it, one of them was.
I think it just finally came in your hand.
Yeah.
And the secretary spoke to me as I was senior warden, so will you check that? I said,
I'll forward this to
no,
you.
you check. Okay. And I got it too, so they were walking up, he says, "Oh, I should do." I went back and apologized to me.
Yeah.
Then they voted me out on it the second time. Went right through the line twice.
Well, I tell you what, the one over here, they're quite active.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have time to be there, but at the same time, I mean,
The Masonic Lodge?
Yes.
but I mean, they
Don't talk
specifically
around
tell
me, I'm
you.
a demented or demented member, whichever whatever you wanna
Do
say.
what?
I demitted, so I got out of it. I
Oh,
was
did
in
you?
the lodge, yeah, but got out. Yeah, yeah.
that they agree to pay over here are usually seniors.
Yeah.
So,
Brittany kept me good. Just one time, you know.
So Lisa answered.
but, yeah, ours is always due at the end of the year, and I don't know if that's the way all of them are, but at the same time, I just go get a check and give it to them.
We're a small community.
Yeah.
People forget stuff. I'm a busy guy.
That's your answer two.
Somebody
I
gets
asked her, I
home
said,
and
is
say,
it an order or
hey,
an
you have
ordinance?
page views
For
or something like that. No,
the
first I hear about it.
redevelopment authority.
First, remember,
Oh,
it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
so
it was
it's
a certified letter saying.
She said it
pulled up
could
on
be
my
either.
targets.
I would think it's better.
Okay.
Just
Thanks for this. Thanks for the brotherly call.
Yeah.
But no, we have a building that's a nice building that's paid for, and they were looking at, they were just gonna close the lawn rather than trying to merge with somebody, and they were trying to merge with Mechanics Merchants. They were gonna give the building up to the Grand Lodge, and it's like, I mean, if you had to go fight for this thing more than
Yeah.
that, a lot of people, you know, put a lot of time in to pay for this lodge.
Well, see, that, I mean,
You can't get 11 people there to run a lodge meeting.
that's when the American Legion lost that place over there. I just think we still got a Legion here, but they meet once a month, and I mean, I don't see it growing much. So, in which New Pal, they've got a piece of land down here. Their American Legion down here on the other side of the apartment complex by Jim Road there. They're gonna build a new building there. And I would suggest that the one here.
Brian
Yes.
Breeze, you wanna come up, come on up and share with us some information on insurance? And we're all gonna try to get this meeting done by 10 because Mary has to go as well. It's 9:42 up there.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm doing okay.
Morning.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. Brian Breeze with Walker Hughes Insurance. We had the non-renewal on the law portion of the excess coverage. The excess coverage, you have your general liability in the base policy for the county. Above that, you have an umbrella, and then there's an excess policy. the excess policy was written through American Alternative, and they offered a renewal, but it excluded the law enforcement piece. So we had to go to market. If you notice the two copies I gave you, one doesn't have law on the top, the other one does. The American Alternative is the same carrier we have. We just brought in the law piece for the excess. So if we go into the one that says or that doesn't say law on it, that's the renewal. What they did, our policy renewed March 11th, so they gave us until June 11th. So the policy date on this, if you notice on that first page, is these will be June 11th to March 11th. And this is for excess liability of $5 million. That coverage is $20,128, and this goes over the auto, over the employment practices liability, public officials, GL, and then the law would be standalone for the $5 million. And if you go to the first page of that, the combination of both premiums, we're going to be at 77,333 $77,333 is the total for both. And both of these policies go through the renewal next year. Carriers, like we've talked about before, the markets are really tough right now, and with the environment we're in, it seems like we're getting tort claims all the time on law enforcement. It's not just Hancock County. I work with other public entities that it's the same thing. So in order to maintain the excess for the law coverage, we wanted to provide this quote. They did give you an option on the very last page, second to last page of the law, if you wanted to go with $4 million, but we were at $5 million previously, so that would be a decision you would need to make if you wanted to drop it. It would save about 10 grand, a little over $10,000 if you did want to, do the expense. But where the excess comes into play is that if it goes to like a federal level, and so we could, there could be some exposure there if we have lawsuits in the federal world, in federal cases. Do you guys have any questions? We were at 36,000. It was 36,007. So again, with the markets and on law enforcement, I mean, that is really over a third of the county's employee base, and it's a big piece of the county. So
the thing is what I would just say, the tort claims that are filed, 99% have no merit.
Right.
And they're filed as a matter of course, so I don't think that's a proper criteria for increasing the premium like that. That's just not accurate. They're mostly,
I'm going to disagree.
they file them all the time, but no, I know because I track them too.
But respectfully, from what the carriers are paying, it's a perspective on the companies and what they're paying on claims. Like Newcastle is a neighboring, or Henry County's a neighboring county. They got dropped midterm due to claims, and so working with Don Dickerson, he's a broker. He had 4 non-renewals on counties with law enforcement. We got ours. I mean,
Well, Travelers is, our carrier, and I work with them closely. That, I just think that's artificial, and it's an attempt to maintain their own profit margins, and I think it's just, I know that's what the market is saying, but it's just getting old.
neither of these are through Travelers. These are
I know
excess.
they are.
The base policy and umbrella are with
But
Travelers.
you mentioned tort claims, and just because there's a tort claim filed doesn't mean the case has merit. Most of the time it does. Because I know sheriff people, a lot of times it just doesn't have merit, and it's just, this whole situation is really troubling. The way they're increasing their premiums, it's just, that's my opinion.
I understand.
Yeah, I just think it's too much. But I know that's what they tell you.
I see Ken Nunn's name come across on claims all the time. I know exactly what you're saying as far as, you know.
It's not just him, but it's just, they're not, I'm just saying, I know from experience, there's not merit with most of them. So if that's the reason they're telling our agent that they're increasing the premium, I'm not. And I don't think the verdicts are higher either, if there is a verdict.
There's carriers that are just dropping law enforcement altogether. So you used to have multiple, now the pool's shrinking.
Don't have the competition.
But there's the markets are kind of, you know, Don shopped this for us. I mean, so that, you know, we're coming back with what we felt was the best rate, and
I believe that.
it's just, like I said,
Carriers, it's not.
American Alternative is not even writing law enforcement anymore, so they non-renewed us on that piece, but offered to carry the rest, and that's what we've kept. It's just, the law piece is just a bigger.
So you're saying there's just not as much competition, right?
Well, definitely people, and it's not just municipalities. I mean, and go to your homeowner or auto, those are taking huge increases. I mean, we're in a weird time right now, with risk and everything, so.
So are we in a spot where we have to make a choice between option 1 and option 2, is that it?
If you wanted to go with the lower, excess limit and go to 4 million, we were at 5 million previously. They did give that as an alternative as far as, you know, looking at pricing.
So the total renewal will be 77,000.
What's the difference between
333.
4 and 5?
10,000.
It's just $10,000, so keep the $5 million,
And then there's terrorism coverages that are, there's a charge for that we've always had that on the policies, but,
I'll make a motion that we go with the renewal at a cost of $77,333.
Second. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We go with our insurance renewal as presented by Brian Brees in the amount of $77,333. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
and then I'll need to get a signature from you on one bill, here. If I may, real quick, this will be just a 2-minute tip. I want to remind you guys that the mineral program that you guys signed up with and have used for a couple of years, you're at a renewal point with that, and it's July 7th is when that contract runs out. Walker Hughes has a program called Zywave that is very similar. They have all the training, all the HR assistance, pretty much all the same, and we offer it to clients for free. And I've talked to Misty about it. She's the one that sends out all the training. I've given her a sample catalog of the courses, and so for employee training that she sends out through email. Is it okay if I can set you guys up on it if you want to use it? It's great. If you don't, it's sitting there at any time, but I think you'll find that it's beneficial. It also has some items for HR, so like for Kelly, if you look at the HR apps on there, custom job description builder, employee cost calculators, HR self-assessment tools, in-person interview question builders, performance review builder, salary benchmarking, sample job descriptions, total compensation statement builder. So if especially a lot of times employees don't realize how much their health insurance costs, the county's paying for, and they'll show them all the things that, it's not just your pay, you get all these things, so it'll help with those items as well.
Can you let them have, Kelly and Misty have access to that?
Yeah,
so they
definitely.
can make a recommendation to us.
Definitely, and that's where we're far enough out, June 7th, I mean, that gives them a little time to get in there. I just needed to get it in front of you guys to make sure you were aware and okay. But I use it, and it works really good, so I think you guys will be happy with it.
Okay.
Okay, and then, if you don't mind, I just need to get a quick signature.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks,
Brian,
Brian.
I'll need to get a copy of that.
Hey, Brian, can you get a copy of that to Mary?
I can just make a copy right here.
Kelly and Misty, do you want to come up and talk to the handbook?
Good morning.
I sent the latest draft yesterday with a couple updates that we had received late last week. Did you have any questions throughout the handbook?
Is it right? That's all I care.
Is it right? Well, we hope. We spent a lot of time working through it and received feedback from the committee. We've looked at several other handbooks across the state.
I think it's safe to say with the 8 committee members, which included Commissioner Spalding, that we went line by line, word by word. We sent it to Scott as well.
I think it's going to accomplish what we need to do. And if it doesn't, we can edit it and change it. But right now, I think for the most part, it's a good document.
The parental leave was one thing that was left still, that we had sent, Misty had sent the parental leave policy that the state utilizes. It was my recommendation we change it to weeks instead of hours, because everybody here works different hours on their week. But other than that, that's
the only thing that was outstanding.
Okay, so now you just need us to approve the new county handbook.
correct. And if you wanna insert the parental leave policy into it.
And present the parental leave policy as presented, that you just presented with, is that it? or-
Weeks instead of hours.
Weeks instead of,
Weeks instead of hours, correct.
weeks instead of hours, okay.
I make a motion that we adopt the new county employee handbook with the parental leave as presented with weeks rather than hours.
Second.
It's been properly moved and moved and presented that we accept the county handbook, the new county handbook, and policies as presented with the addition of family leave to be based on works instead of hours. With
Weeks.
Parental leave,
Based on.
weeks instead of
yes.
hours. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work on it.
Thanks, yes.
Marcia Moore.
Marcia Moore. Okay, thank you.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I have forwarded, and hopefully you all received this copy in advance. This is a product that, and I'm going to let Mr. Cook from CSI, I'm going to introduce you to him in 1 second, speak to you more about it. This is a free to the county product. There's obviously a good deal of property fraud that is increasing across the nation, even in our state. Hendricks County, about 3 months ago maybe, was just hit with a huge property fraud situation. And Kevin has, as member of PRIA, which is the National Records, Professional Records Keeping, has searched out a good quality company that he will speak more of to help us protect our citizens. We currently have a product called DocsPop, which is primarily was the initial contract is for bulk services when a company like a title searcher comes in and buys bulk copies. That was their main purpose and function. They also offered a free property watch email service that you could go online and put your information in and get a notification if something was filed in the recorder's office that met your parameters. The problem with Property Watch, or excuse me, the Docs Prop piece of it is pretty much name-based, and it does match to some parameters, but if you live in a county like I do, in a section, township, and range, it's not specific. So I made, when the factories were coming in, the one in the city, not even a mile from my house, I was getting all the notices of who bought it when and all of this. Yeah, fine, I was interested, but it did not affect my property. I didn't have to panic about my property being stolen. This particular product is driven more to the parcel, which is a unique number identified for the land. And so I'm not gonna get any kind of false alerts or something that might cause me panic. If you will, I'm gonna introduce Kevin Cook. He is the president of CSI, who is our recording software company, and let him explain a little more how he came across this company and the value to our constituents, really.
Thank you, Marcia. You guys got an hour? I could really talk about this.
No. Nope.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. First off, thanks too. We've been a part of Hancock County for over 30 years. Go back to the good old days, and Marcia was also the clerk. So, been very proud to be a part of this community. And you know, one of the things that I really want to compliment is Marcia as a custodian of property records. In my opinion, there's no more valuable service than local county government, and within that is the property records. And as Marcia already said, property fraud was always nationwide, maybe $100 million, $200 million of a problem. 2023, it went over 300 million. It's getting organized, and it's now even said to be, it might even double this year. So long story short, the service that you guys have now that Marcia's are offering through our DocsPop service, it alerts you when there's a fraud that's happened. This new service will prevent it. And it's a very unique offering that we have. We partnered with another company, a national company, that will now, like Marcia said, identify to your property. And if you were to sign up, it goes through a series, and this is a patented thing, multi-factor identification, that when you say this is my property, they'll have all these unbelievable things. I signed up for it. It asked me a question. It gave me like 5 properties and said, which one of these is a property owned in 1985? And I picked the right one. So that keeps honing you in. So the point is, nobody's gonna sign up for your property, and then I can go fraudulently put a quitclaim deed on it, and then go get a mortgage, sell it, or whatever. And this is what's happening. It's very organized. They know how to do identity theft. This is actually a prevention service. And like I said, I think as custodian of the property records, Marcia's leading this. She'll be probably the first one in the nation to do this. But certainly for Indiana, this will prevent property fraud. There's a risk assessment, as people can go on and get for free, to say what your risk assessment is. And by the way, the biggest risk, you know, is property that doesn't have a mortgage on it, you know, 65 and older. The elder abuse is just is out of control, or a high, or what they should say is a low loan to value. If you got very little mortgage on it, these sophisticated thieves will know, looking up on my DocsPop system, hey, look at these properties. By the way, that one, somebody I know it's older, maybe in a nursing home, probate. So what this does, there'll still be this free monitoring service. This one is a paid service, not through the county, but they can sign up, and then this is where we help with our land records. We will be able to identify that property directly from the system too, that then when you sign up for it, they will get basically a UCC, they call it, a lien, filed on your property. So you become your own lien holder of your property, and nothing can be done to that property without getting your permission. So the initial sign-up's $149, and then that includes a year monitoring, and then thereafter it's $99 a year. So there is a cost to it. Not to the county. So, you know, what we want to do too is, I was just kind of briefly talking to Marcia about this, I want to start getting involved not only at the county level, but the legislative level. A good friend of mine just went up in Michigan and addressed his legislature of asking them to make a specific criminal statute. If you file something wrong in her property records, 10-year minimum. Because if you steal someone's property, 300 grand property, whatever, I mean, next thing you know, oh, well, what is that, forgery? You know, what is that? You know, did you fraud? Well, it's a low misdemeanor probably. I mean, worst case, maybe a felony, you get probation. This guy runs down to the Caymans with 300 grand and laughs at everybody. want to be able to eventually work with the legislature and the county people to say, no, you do that, 10 years, maybe you'll think twice before you do something like that. But anyhow, it is a great service. We hope to really broaden the attention to this, not only in Hancock County, but other states, because this will prevent. And we think it's going to be kind of revolutionary. There's no other service like this. It's brand new, and we're proud to be able to integrate with it. So, and then just briefly, this agreement is just similar to the what we have with the Docs Pop. We can't guarantee that somebody couldn't, commit identity theft. So, basically the disclaimers in there that, hey, if it happens, we did our best effort. And believe me, it is a great effort how they do it. So, sorry, I know I could go on forever. Questions?
I reviewed the agreement. There's not any legal issues with it. I just wanted them to be able to talk to you about what they want to do. But there's no legal issue.
Yeah.
Right.
County has no legal responsibility either.
Are you guys good with that?
It's not gonna cost anything. Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we enter into the property fraud alert and prevention agreement between Hancock County and CSI Computer Systems Incorporated as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we enter into the property fraud alert prevention agreement with Hancock County and CSI as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Thank you,
That-
Kevin.
That's the copy I need signed, and then we'll just pass it down to Mary, so, and then she'll get a copy back. Like I said, I just brought you the original. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Redevelopment Authority.
Yeah, so, the note from Lisa said,
That one right there.
you can approve it as an ordinance and authorize execution once we send the new document. So she'll send a new document with the ordinance. Either way, she's okay with that. We can execute it as an
How about,
ordinance.
you want to just introduce it then this time, then we don't have to spend the rules and
Yeah.
pass it? 2024-5D. I introduce ordinance number 2024-5D. It's an ordinance creating the establishment of a redevelopment, or Department of Redevelopment for the county.
Is it a department or a board?
Says Department of Redevelopment of the county.
It should be a board.
Oh, it does, it says, okay, separate body corporate. And we'll call it redevelopment authority, because that's what it reads in there.
An ordinance creating a redevelopment authority. I guess we'll take it at the next meeting.
With
Or do
the
you-
board?
Huh?
What, creating the board at the next meeting? Or does this create the board? I think we can go ahead and create the board and we can,
Okay.
can we appoint today?
You can, because
After we
it's
create
effective
it,
today.
Okay, so we can do that. So we'll create the authority and then appoint the board today.
Alright, I'll make a motion that we suspend the rules and allow for adoption on the day of introduction, ordinance number 2024-5D.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we suspend on the day of introduction ordinance number 2024-5D as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Make a motion that we, give, you want authority to sign? Well, we did it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Make a motion that we
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt ordinance number 2024-5-D as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Make a motion that we appoint the 3 commissioners to the Redevelopment Authority board as the 3-member board.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we appoint the 3 commissioners as the members of the newly created the newly created Redevelopment Authority Board. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Introduce ordinance number 2024-5E, an amended ordinance establishing a board of Parks and Recreation and repeal of all ordinances in conflict therewith.
Second.
Make a motion that we suspend the rules on the day of or allow for adoption on the day of introduction for ordinance number 2024-5E.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we suspend the rules on the day of introduction for ordinance number 2024-5E as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 2024-5E as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We adopt ordinance number 2024-5-E as presented. Any discussion?
And I'll just say for the record, it's an amendment of the creation of the park board. It's really it just involves a superficial change, which was just to speak to it as a board as opposed to a department.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion passes. That concludes our meeting for today. Any public comment? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Well, second. It's been moved and seconded. We adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I'm losing it there. Gary, I've got
Start this out.
I'm not there yet.
So you guys are signing these last 2 ones?
Yes. Okay. So Dean, the weed guy, is still getting flack from this Scott Wilson fellow. Is there any way for us to cut him some kind of letter that says, hey, if you don't
For which one?
keep your grass mowed according to our ordinance, we're gonna take legal action against you? Cause he's the turf grass guy. He thinks turf grass excludes him from cutting his grass. Yeah. Hey Gary, can you catch John to sign off on this parks ordinance?
Dean can just give the guy's name.
Are you sure? Yeah, okay. Let me go ahead and turn off the TVs real quick.
Okay. I think that was really the only, the only question additional that I had right now.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Gonna try, I gotta go get my, since my mom moved out to Iowa, this weekend is our meeting down at her house to get it all cleaned out and get her stuff over there, so. You know, I won't be by the pool at a picnic listening to the race. I'll be in a home boxing stuff up to go.
My brother and I were just talking about that. That's a big deal. There's so much stuff. You know, they've got nighttime stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's coming. No, I'm gonna try the rest of it. I haven't been able to take vacation.
Okay.
Just a few days, but it's good to build it on the back of Memorial Day. I need some. What you gonna do? Change my nose?
I think he'd get those gauges. get it to quit growing
still
here
have
and
5
here,
eats.
I'd be okay. I just can't get it to grow there.
Hey guys, we still got one more 5E?
Oh, no, I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, you guys
We're
are
good.
Good.
See
Sir, have a good weekend.
You too. Enjoy your time off.
See you.
Few days
See
will
you.
make a difference.
Yep.
So, boy, I usually get back to work early.
I gotta get out of here.
Mary, thanks for sticking around for the 15 extra. Appreciate it. No, seriously.
Yeah, that's okay.
Are you coming through here, Mary?
I am. Just gonna put those down. Wait, is this, I need to.
That's, yeah, that goes
Take
back.
that, don't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about this? Will it stay and will
One of
Cindy
the
bring
gals
it back?
from
Or?
EP will come down and get that. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, by the way, thank you for all your effort on that handbook. I know it wasn't spectacular. I was just like, we gotta get all this out of here by 10 o'clock so Mary can go, so thank you. And then take a look at that product from Brian and tell me what you think, because I know a lot of times people like to push this free stuff out, and free doesn't always mean it's good.
Right.
So whatever you think, if it's something, because I think we're not gonna renew mineral right. So if it's something that works for you.
Well, I mean, it would be good as in an interim
Mm-hmm.
until we maybe pick at something that is actually good. Missy said she would look at the course catalog and wasn't confident that this had that much more. It's gonna be like, work for a while, but it doesn't cost anything right now.
And you know, I will say this, from the state employee trainings that we have like that, they're the same almost every year. Then every once in a while they come and make a new, fresh update to it. It's the same